welcome aboard to WrestleWorld. Thank you for downloading the podcast. Larry Mormon here, figuring joining you here today. We got a lot of action coming up at the end of August. In fact, so much. There's really 3 shows in 2 days, and I'm not counting the Raw after SummerSlam. I'm talking about 3 big shows over a 2-day period, and that's what I kind of want to bring everyone up to speed here right now with that, with those cards. Basically, we're going to have, first of all, 2 shows, which at first I thought were going on at the same time. Saturday, August 22nd, first of all, from MCU Park in Brooklyn, New York, Coney Island specifically. And I believe the show will be available on internet pay-per-view, will be Ring of Honor Field of Honor 2015. Now, that bell time is 7:30 p.m. At, last I checked, 9 p.m. that night, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, New York will emanate live from the Barclays Center, and that will be on the WWE Network. Now, I'll admit it, I'm a WWE fan, first and foremost. WWE in my blood, through and through. But my first Ring of Honor show was last year. Actually, was Field of Honor 2014. I've only been to one other Ring of Honor show, Final Battle 2014. And Ring of Honor really, really blew me away with their wrestling and their in-ring storytelling. Not really much outside of the ring storytelling. But not a lot of talking, not a lot of drama. Just hard-hitting action. So when first of all, originally, let's go back even further. It's all about SummerSlam. SummerSlam's really the one that kind of did in with everything. For the last 6, maybe 7 years, SummerSlam was from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. I had the privilege to be able to go to LA to see SummerSlam in 2012 and 2013. So long overdue, finally they announced SummerSlam will be coming back to the East Coast, New York, New Jersey. So when you hear that, unless they were putting it in MetLife Stadium, which I think they can sell out a SummerSlam in a football stadium, they were going to the Izod Center, which, if you live on the East Coast, if you live in the tri-state area, the Izod Center is not really all that. Well, it's certainly not anymore because they're shutting it down. In fact, they're going to knock it down. And this was after they announced SummerSlam from the Izod Center. But before we get into the whole question of where is SummerSlam going to be held eventually, tickets for Ring of Honor in Brooklyn came out, and I jumped on the opportunity. Got VIP tickets, going to get ringside there, or as close to ringside as possible. And I was thinking to myself, since they're doing the show, they did NXT at WrestleMania. Well, not at WrestleMania, but in the area. So I figured they're going to do something with NXT in the area. Maybe not Brooklyn. Actually, this is even before I knew they were coming to Brooklyn. The thoughts were they going to go to Newark because there was a contract with Izod where any shows already booked had to go to Newark. Or if they were able to get out, maybe finally go back to the Garden for the first time since 2011, televised for the first time since 2011. Or maybe go to the Barclays. But I figured SummerSlam, try and do it at MSG. Why not? It's the Mecca. They've redone it, so the Garden's not the same anymore. You don't have that special entrance like they used to, but still, it's the Garden. So in any event, I figured I kind of took a chance at whimsy, bought the Ring of Honor tickets, which was a Saturday. I figure WWE wasn't going to do anything on a Saturday the night before SummerSlam. I kind of figured if they're going to do anything with NXT, maybe it'll be at the Manhattan Center or at the Hammerstein Ballroom on a Friday. So, of course, I was wrong. First of all, they finally announced that SummerSlam was heading to the Barclays Center, which it will be, in Brooklyn, New York, where I was born and raised. And then I don't know, about a few months after I bought the Ring of Honor tickets, which are non-refundable, they announced NXT TakeOver Brooklyn live on the WWE Network Saturday night, August 22nd. So I was like, shoot. I'm dying. I haven't seen NXT live yet, and NXT is awesome. Definitely watch them every Wednesday on the network. And their takeover shows have been phenomenal. They've been better than the pay-per-views that were offered that month. And I'm sure TakeOver Brooklyn's going to be no different, even though SummerSlam's a 4-hour event, and you got the matches, which we'll go over in a few moments. But still, they're gonna put on a show. But I already got my tickets for Ring of Honor. And I won't be able to make it from Coney Island to Atlantic Avenue. Even so, in time anyway. But I'm a little worried anyway about NXT. I mean, NXT can pull off the show, but they sold out the Barclays Center for an NXT show. NXT, in my opinion, NXT deserves to be in a small venue. 13,000 people, I think, is too big for what NXT should be. The intimacy of a small crowd, of a small arena, that closeness to the fans, even the set, not an elaborate. They're going to have that elaborate Raw set, the giant, Titantron. I don't think that's really fitting for NXT. They're going to put on a great show. Don't get me wrong, but so that's kind of what's making me feel better with the Ring of Honor tickets. Plus, not only that, Ring of Honor, they're going to have some guys from New Japan coming in, but we'll get to that first. But I want to, since we're talking about NXT, let's have the rundown here. NXT TakeOver, Brooklyn, New York, live on the WWE Network Saturday night, August 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern. And thus far signed, we have a spoiler, which, dang it, I just read, which I will not read out to you guys, but this has something to do. Tonight, Bayley takes on Becky Lynch for the number one contendership for the NXT Women's Championship, the winner to face Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Everyone has their opinion. The show's already been taped, so I know you probably know who it is. But I'm not saying a word here. But we'll leave it at that. There will be an NXT Women's Championship. Sasha Banks will be in the building. Hopefully she'll be at SummerSlam too, but I guess... Oh, no, she is, yeah. And we'll get into that in a little while. Anyway, this has definitely been signed. The NXT Tag Team Championship, Blake and Murphy, the champions, will defend against the Vaudevillains, Aiden English and Simon Gotch. Now, of course, Blake and Murphy will have Alexa Bliss in their corner. And as general manager William Regal mentioned to the Vaudevillains, they got to come up with something to counteract Alexa Bliss. And I think the Vaudevillains may have that thing. What it is, I don't know. We'll find out Saturday night, August 22nd. In a huge announcement by WWE and NXT for the first time ever in an NXT, let alone WWE ring, Jushin Thunder Liger will be making his WWE NXT debut as he takes on Tyler Breeze. That should be awesome. And that is interesting, too, because Jushin Thunder Liger is contracted, I believe, with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that very night, New Japan Pro Wrestling will be at MCU Park in Coney Island with Ring of Honor. And this started sparking some rumors, the old rumor mill running wild with... is Ring of Honor and WWE working with each other? No. Just Jushin Thunder Liger is going to be at NXT. And, of course, just announced, just updated, the NXT Championship will be on the line as Finn Balor defends against Kevin Owens. And this time, it is a ladder match. Kevin Owens, if you've seen his match with El Generico, now Sami Zayn, ladder match at Ring of Honor. I want to say it was Final Battle 2012? I think so. The two of them had a hellacious ladder match at the Hammerstein Ballroom. And the way just Kevin Owens and Finn Balor just go full speed ahead, them two in a ladder match, that's going to be wicked to watch. And I should be home by then to see at least that main event live on the network. So I don't know. There may be other matches. You know how they do. Maybe a match pops up in the middle of the show or something maybe more announced tonight on NXT. But there's your lineup for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Brooklyn in the house. Well, there are 2 more shows, and like we mentioned, Ring of Honor will be also in Brooklyn at MCU Park Saturday night, August 22nd, and that one you should be able to order on internet pay-per-view. Now, again, if you just want to watch action, this is going to be the place to be. This is going to be the show. With their team up with New Japan Pro Wrestling is going to be wicked. Here's the rundown. Now, my only complaint with this is that there's no titles on the line at Field of Honor. Excuse me. Which kind of stinks, in my opinion. I'd like to see definitely a title match, especially with one guy holding 2 titles, Jay Lethal. But that's all right. We're getting a ton of tag team matches and a lot of action from New Japan. Here we go. Red Dragon, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly will be taking on the Ring of Honor World Champion and Ring of Honor World Television Champion Jay Lethal and Shinsuke Nakamura. And, of course, Truth Martini will be in their corner. The IWGP World Champion Okada, the Rainmaker, will be taking on Mr. ROH Roderick Strong. And if you did not order Death Before Dishonor on IPPV, pull up that show. I'm going to tell you right now, Jay Lethal, Roderick Strong, 60 minutes for the Ring of Honor World Championship was absolutely breathtaking. That match, you forgot that the time flew by. Definitely check that out. The Killer Elite Squad, which is Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer, will be taking on War Machine, Hanson, and Ray Rowe. In another tag team match, the Briscoes, Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe, will be taking on the Time Splitters, Alex Shelley and Kushida. In a singles match, one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions of the World, Christopher Daniels, will be taking on Adam Cole. Also in a singles match, the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, Hiroki Goto, will be taking on Michael Elgin. And in an 8-man tag team attraction, a little bit of a weird mix-up, but we'll take it. Matt Sydal, ACH, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, will be taking on the Kingdom, Matt Tavern and Michael Bennett, and Roppongi Vice, Beretta, and Rocky Romero, and of course the First Lady of Ring of Honor, Maria Kanellis, will be in their corner. And finally, an 8-man gauntlet match for a shot at the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, I believe at their following show, September 19th, it will be Frankie Kazarian, Moose, Donovan Dijak, Cedric Alexander, Takati Watanabe, Dalton Castle, the Peacock, and the boys will be at MCU Park. Adam Page, and the last real man in professional wrestling, Silas Young. Definitely order that show. You can watch some of it beforehand, then watch NXT TakeOver, then go back. Either way, they're on demand. They're live, but they're also on demand. Pull up the shows. Now, those two are the hors d'oeuvres, are the lead-ups, are the je ne sais quoi of the entire weekend because it all accumulates, repitates, I don't know. Sunday night, August 23rd, live and only on the WWE Network, SummerSlam. And it is a special 4-hour event. It is the WrestleMania of the summer. Special start time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. And you really can't start off with any other match. But the match that Paul Heyman deemed the rematch too big for WrestleMania. The Beast, Brock Lesnar, will be taking on the Phenom, The Undertaker. In a triple threat match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, Ryback will finally get this triple threat match off the ground as he takes on The Big Show and The Miz. Ryback, of course, coming back from a staph infection, but he will be in Brooklyn. In a tag team match, which this match, I love tag team matches when they make sense. This one makes sense. Doesn't have to be about the titles, and it's not. It's family versus family. Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper take on Roman Reigns and the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. just announced this past Monday a fatal four-way for the WWE World Tag Team Championship. The primetime players will defend against the New Day, Los Matadores, and the Lucha Dragons. Also announced from Monday, going to get their little, get the Hollywood in on this one. Stephen Amell, Arrow, CW's Arrow, and Neville will be taking on Stardust and King Barrett. Poor Barrett thrown into this tag team match for no reason. Personally, I'd like to see Arrow show up instead of Stephen Amell, but we'll take it. In a three-team elimination match, Divas action, Team Bella, Brie, Nikki Bellas, and Alicia Fox will be taking on Team Bad, Beautiful, and Dangerous, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina, and be taking on the newly renamed Team PCB, Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. And also just announced a little while ago on the WWE.com, the challenge has been accepted. It will be champion versus champion, winner take all, title for title. The WWE United States Champion John Cena will take on the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins. Will there be more matches announced? We got a week and a half to go right now from where I am until SummerSlam. I would like to think they may get one more match, though maybe a pre-show match, the way they've been Lana and Summer Rae on Raw. Maybe we'll get them too on the, if not on SummerSlam, maybe on the pre-show. And and then of course the next night, Monday the 24th, Raw will be also from the Barclays Center. So I'm missing out on a 3-day trip to the Barclays Center, but I'm probably better off not going to Atlantic Avenue that many times. And Raw is going to be Raw. It'll be after SummerSlam, and kind of everything will wind down. I got tickets to that as well, so I'll be on Raw. Well, I'll be at Raw. And it's funny because my tickets for Raw are literally 2 seats over from my tickets for SummerSlam, so that's pretty cool. And there's your lineup for a tremendous wrestling weekend coming up at the end of August. If you're a wrestling fan, it's going to be a hot time in Brooklyn. So thank you very much. I just wanted to give you the rundown. You have your opinions on who you think's going to win, or maybe if you know who it is, but no spoilers. Thank you for joining WrestleWorld. Larry Mormon. I'm going to catch you next time.